assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush aamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Pagheragale, ni hao, churishumbe, washmale, ohaya, gazaimis, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, halashuma chotore, ahlan wasahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuning to PTV World and are watching World This Morning alongside the very fabulous, the very amazing Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan on 9th November 2019. Hi Shiza, how are you today?
I'm absolutely great, thank you for asking. How are you doing on a important day, of
Yes,
course?
thank you very much for asking. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason why we have mentioned the date today as well. And it's a big day for everybody out there. I
Yes.
think that it's a big day for everybody who's a fan of Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal as well. Because
Absolutely.
today is his birthday as well, ladies and gentlemen. He was born in 1877 on 9th of November. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever we speak about Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal, I think that he's one of the founding members of the Pakistan movement as well. He was a barrister, he was a poet, he was a philosopher, and he's also known as the spiritual father of Pakistan as well.
Absolutely.
What do you have to share about him?
First of all, of course, I started my day by listening to Shikwa Jawab Shikwa.
Wow.
Other than that, Shahzad, one very important thing, the part where Allama Muhammad Iqbal is a philosopher, I absolutely love, studying about his work and everything. And I was realizing, and I think we were discussing this earlier as well, the concept of khudi, where he develops or invokes rather, the concept of self-awareness among the youth of Pakistan. That is something so important, and that is relevant. It's timeless, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just relevant to, let's say, 1900s or late 1800s when the struggle for independence was going on, but even till date it's relevant. And also in the modern technologies or terminologies rather, khudi, the concept of it has sort of developed into a very interesting concept. It's called emotional intelligence, which starts with khudi.
Exactly, that's wonderful and wonderfully said as well. So I'm not going to spoil it, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we actually have a small package about Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Please go ahead, look at it, and when you guys will come back, we'll actually talk about emotional intelligence.
Every year on 9th of November, Iqbal Day is celebrated in Pakistan. Allama Iqbal played a significant role in the struggle of a separate homeland for Pakistanis. He was a man with the dream of Pakistan and a great politician who gave birth to the idea of an independent state for Muslims of the subcontinent. His words had the power to encourage the Muslim Ummah to fight for their rights and to take a step forward for freedom. Iqbal was a great philosopher, thinker of his time, and even today, he's alive in the hearts of people due to his enchanting poetry. Iqbal was a pioneer of Urdu poetry, and his poems are an inspiration for today's youth. He is popularly identified as the Mufakkir-e-Pakistan and Hakim-ul-Ummat, and his words and actions flawlessly reflect his sturdy personality. His solid ideological beliefs and magical poetry astonished the Britishers. The main purpose of celebrating Iqbal Day is to be thankful to him for his every niche contribution, for giving us a dream of our own land where we can practice our own culture and rituals. There is no doubt that in Pakistan, we are living our life like a freely flying bird.
What a wonderful package that was. And ladies and gentlemen, to be very honest, I think that there's one thing which I've learned from Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal and Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah as well, and from their parents and the type of background they had.
What?
So imagine that back in those days, imagine that this still has put emphasis on getting better education or quality education. So Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal actually went to Munich as well. He studied over there. When we speak about Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he went to UK or England at that time as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I think that putting emphasis on, or probably emphasizing on quality education is something which is very important even for today or for the future generations.
Right, and Shahzad, you know what, this was probably a few weeks ago. A student delegation from Egypt was in my university. And people in Egypt and even in Iran sort of consider Allama Muhammad Iqbal as their own.
And even in Germany.
Yes, of course. A lot of them didn't know that he has Pakistani origin, and he would even know Urdu or his work exists in Urdu because of the wide range of work he himself produced. The translations that have been happening to his work, even after, he passed away for so long. And that is what we are celebrating today, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. And, I think, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be amazing to listen to one of his kalams too as well.
Let's do it.
So, to get started, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे bata teri raza kya hai. Let's take baar wahi by Shabdam Majid. What a wonderful listen that was for people who were out there, for people who are actually watching us in 46 different countries. But now coming back to what we're actually going to talk about. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have picked up on emotional intelligence, and we believe, and you know, we over here on the show have been advocating that, you know, for a lot of people, for our schools, for our parents who are out there as well, you know, we do emphasize on making sure that the kid is actually going to score a lot of numbers in his or her examination, but we really do not focus on prepping them for their emotional balance in life.
Right. Also, Shazad, you know, since we have this workplace and so many other places that we go to, our universities, our families and whatnot, so I just feel there are certain times when you are pushed to your limits, where you have to sort of express your emotions, right? To manage them, not control, but to manage them is what emotional intelligence is. And this is what we will talk about with this very apt panel of guests over here, but after this very short break, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned to find out who these people are.
Let's do this.
Good morning. Welcome back to Well This Morning with Shazad Khan and Shazad Hashmi, ladies and gentlemen, or on a very informative morning where today we will be discussing on how to control one's natural emotions in order to achieve things.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, not always controlling your emotions can actually do the job. So, you know, at times you should actually know when to express yourself, and you should actually know when to hold back. This is what we are talking about. We're talking about emotional intelligence. A lot of people have picked up on it, but I don't think that they've actually made sure that their audience will understand what emotional intelligence is. But today, we're very lucky that we've been joined by some amazing clinical psychologists over here in the studios. They're going to let us know how you can be emotionally intelligent. And I think that, okay, I'll hold back. Yeah, this is one thing which you need to learn. So, ladies and gentlemen, with us today, we've been joined by Dr. Noshaba Anjum, who's a clinical psychologist herself. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
I'm good. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
That
Thank
was
you very
so
much for
dull,
joining
though.
us.
Are you really good?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Thank you very much for joining us alongside Dr. Noshaba, ladies and gentlemen, another clinical psychologist. She's none other than Dr. Uzma Masroor. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm good.
Thank you very much for joining us. So first things first, let's get to it. Emotional intelligence. What is it? Do you think it's important?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for your invitation with a very good topic. Actually, you know, what is emotional intelligence? People are born with different personalities, with different khaslat and jibillat. You know, everyone has his own nature, you know. So you cannot, like, there is no set pet rule for everyone. Every individual is a different research. Right. Emotional intelligence is a capacity to be aware, control and express your emotions, and to handle the interpersonal relationships, like very intelligently, you can say, empathetically, how you deal with others. And there are few components of emotional intelligence, like self-awareness. IQBAL call it khudi ko kar buland itna ke har takdeer se pehle. You know, it's knowing yourself about you. We are more into knowing others. You know what peoples are up to, but you know, knowing your own self.
I think 9 November
the self-concept. Then and how your emotions affect others. You know, knowing your own emotions.
Right.
And then. Self-regulation, your own navigation, you know, where to say no, integrity, you know, to control yourself, you know.
But here's the thing, Noshaba. I think it's you being, you know, in the field, you definitely know how to counsel someone to do all those things. But for a person who has never probably been schooled on this, they're not really sure how to control that.
There is nothing to do with the schooling, you know. It's nothing to do with the schooling. As I told you, you learned eventually when you grow up. You see, parents are doing the modeling. Mother is, I again say, the basic key. Empathy is not, you cannot learn. There is no degree for morality and ethics.
Right.
There isn't. These are the 4 or 5 components, like empathy, motivation. People who are more motivated, you know, to achieve long-term. They will neglect their short-term goals for their long-term goals to get more motivation, you know.
Right.
And then social skills, how we interact with each other. So these are the few components, and when we select a leader, suppose he should be more calm. He has a decision maker. He should be more decisive.
Absolutely.
And you learn with the failure. We should. I think this is the basic component. Failure. It's not only that you have to win. Sometimes you have to fail and then get up again. Yeah.
That's great. And adding on to that, where my co-host actually said that, we aren't even schooled about it. So she actually was referring to that, when we are growing up, nobody actually pays importance to our emotional intelligence or even think about it. Or I don't think that a decade ago people actually knew about emotional intelligence anyways. So just like we speak about in IQ, we actually should speak about EQ too as well, which is why I'm going to move on to Ma'am Uzma over here. So now, this is the thing, that for all of those things, just like you said, that we learn all of these things by ourselves and according to our surroundings. But eventually what I've realized in my life is that, the way I am right now emotionally, the way I consider myself that I'm emotionally stable, if I was, when I was 21 or 22, I may have been at a different place. See, that's what the whole point is.
Exactly.
How do you think that we can actually let people know how important emotional quotient is for you to, live life happily?
Thank you very much for inviting me. I would like to first introduce the concept of emotional quotient actually. So in comparison to intellectual intelligence quotient, this term was introduced and brought in. This is all about like people, the researchers, the scientists, the psychologists, they observed that people who had basically very high genius level IQ, they were unable to success in their personal and their professional lives. So actually they introduced this term stating that emotional regulation and emotional understanding of environment, dealing with different states, different emotional states and different challenges in life, one needs to learn how to regulate and again to manage their emotions, because I would just refrain from using this term control, because control is something that is kind of suppression of emotion.
All right.
Okay, we were talking about this like in childhood we are usually not taught, we are not schooled about that. This is the reason, because the training is more towards the suppression of emotion. Like don't be afraid of this, don't cry, don't say that, don't do that. So this this type of training, it basically we learn how to suppress and harbor the emotions inside. So when we grow older, so these emotions are just kind of, we are unable to handle them. We are unable to, again, in our relationship, as has been already, told by our guest, there are a lot of, situations in life which we need to deal emotions with.
Right.
For example, relationships, successes, failures, and again, managing your own challenges in life, because, as you just mentioned that you were when 21 years old or 22 years old, that is basically the age of emotions. You
that's
know,
just 3 years ago
Joshili, the age when it is very difficult to control emotion. So emotional side of a person is compatible to the rational side of the person as well. So both sides have to be managed accordingly. Sometimes it is your rational mind that basically takes over, and it is important for important decision making in our life. So this is just with the complementary support of the rational mind. Usually the emotional mind is, taken care of. So emotional intelligence, again, it was formally introduced for the workplace environment, people who were having difficulties in their workplace situations. So that is basically to deal with how to again accepting challenges, how to learn and know about your own emotions. One should be aware of what he is feeling actually. Is he afraid of something? Is he grieved about something? Is he sad? Is he depressed? Or he has some anger towards someone.
Right, ma'am, which actually brings me to a question that, of course, I want you both to answer. When we're talking about, you very rightly mentioned, this is not about controlling emotions. This is probably about managing. And like you said, controlling means suppression. So in our society, I'm just giving a minor example. So if a person, if a mom or dad, whatever, scolds or even beats a child up, and they're definitely going to cry as an expression of fear, anger, whatnot. And then, the first reaction from the parents is, you crying? I'll give you something to cry about. And they'll start beating up them more. So coming coming from such a childhood and then working in a work environment, you really, really need to be able to manage those emotions. But again, there is a certain school of thought which absolutely rejects the importance of emotional intelligence. What do you say about that?
No, no, I don't think somebody would be rejecting it. Maybe there is a context they are adopting to explain it or something. So, this is very important actually. Nobody can deny the importance, but maybe this is simply terminology. They are talking about like emotional intelligence. There is some technicalities involved in this term. But otherwise, again, you know, teaching someone to learn about their own emotions, to learn about their own thinking patterns, and to learn how to deal with things effectively in a productive manner, you know, not harming themselves inside and not, you know, destroying their relationships around. So I think this is kind of a skill that can be acquired because this intelligence can be learned with the passage of time, with some training, with some practice, with some observational learning again. We observe people around, and then of course we definitely learn different skills, different managerial skills and different other, you know, academic achievements we have to learn. So in, you know, developing our personality, if leading an effective lives and having proper relationships, I think we need to learn about that as well. Again, emotional regulation is not about your own self. This is about the understanding, empathizing about the other emotions as well. You know, this is all about, I think this is two-way process.
So you
this
give
is my
some and you
point of
take
view.
some, and that's very important, ladies and gentlemen, because if you keep loving the wall, the wall's never going to love you back. So, you know, you should actually be intelligent about who to love. But then at the same time, very quickly, because we have to wrap up this segment too as well. So, Ms. Nashaba, starting from you and then moving on to Dr. Uzma, what solutions do we have for people who are not emotionally stable? You know, how do you think that we can bring them to a point where they can actually decide for themselves that, okay, emotionally this is fine for me and this is not, so I'm not going to indulge myself into an activity which is not going to have a good impact on my emotions?
I think that there is a one-term cognition, how you see, you perceive, and you interpret things. We learn from it. As you said, that the maturity teaches everything, you know, by your failures, you know, decision makings. There is one term here that you should be a very good listener first. And and anger management
are,
or
we think.
conflict resolution, you know.
Okay.
And this is where the decision making, the 2 or 3 components which I believe are very important in emotional intelligence is one should be a very good listener. First, you have to listen, you have to absorb what other want to say, you know, and knowing about yourself, what you are. Sometimes, you know, your own perception might be not be like true, you know, and this is how can you learn it? If the conflict resolution, if you see that in out of 10 conflicts, like 9 were against you, then there is something adjustment in your cognition, in your perception, I believe. So one self-awareness is very important, and everybody can do it by like his or her own self first.
All right.
And that's
Yeah.
great. So what solutions do you have?
Yes.
So the first thing is to, you know what you are actually thinking and behaving, the ways you are behaving. And another thing is like learning about others. First, it calls for learning about your own self, because this is how you will develop, you will learn about the other side as well. So I think this is not a short process, this is a long-term process, and it takes a little bit of time to, you know, learn these skills. And another thing is very important, jumping onto conclusion about something. Like this is the first thing we do. Like if we are unable to deal with the situation, we might have, you know, activate this belief, judgmental about ourselves, that we are unable to do that. But I think with practice and with proper observation and some guidance, we can do that. Although it is very difficult, but I won't say this is impossible.
Well, that's
All right,
great.
thank you so much for saying that. And what other day is better to discuss, you know, about self? Allama Iqbal has been talking about it in so many pieces of his work. And ladies and gentlemen, this is something that we have to carry with ourselves. And like both of you really, you know, clearly mentioned, that you have to start with yourself. And it's sort of a new concept in this world. It just started in the... No, say no to yourself first. All right, ladies and gentlemen, emotional intelligence is what we spoke about. We do have an informative piece of report about this. Please take a look at it, and then we will come back from a very short break.
Exactly. And, you know, towards the end, ladies and gentlemen, of this segment, there's only one thing which I'm going to say or reiterate upon, and that is that Zindagi ne diye bade dhoke. Chal koi nahi, it's okay. Let's do that.
Emotional intelligence refers to the capability of a person to manage and control his or her emotions and possess the ability to control the emotions of others as well. In other words, they can influence the emotions of other people also. The argument went that the same way your general intelligence is a measurement of your ability to process information and come to sound decisions, your emotional intelligence is your ability to process emotions, both others and your own, and come to sound decisions. Emotional intelligence is a very important skill in leadership. It is said to have 5 main elements, such as self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Emotional intelligence is generally said to include at least 3 skills: emotional awareness, or the ability to identify and name one's own emotions, the ability to harness those emotions and apply them to tasks like thinking and problem solving, the ability to manage emotions, which includes both regulating one's own emotions when necessary and helping others to do the same.
The ancient city of Taxila is the heart of stonework in Pakistan. This art, which has been preserved and practiced for centuries, can be seen on many major landmarks of the country.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for everybody who just got tuned into PTV while you watch WTM this morning on a very important day. Ladies and gentlemen, early in the first half, we were talking about emotional intelligence and how important it is for anybody to keep or find resolve for themselves in their life. But other than that, for people who cannot actually be at peace, we have a solution for them. And that solution is?
Music, ladies and gentlemen, because no matter what you're going through, of course, this is going to shape your day. Was this what you were going to say?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely amazing. So for me and Shazad, for everyone who watches us daily, you know we start our day with music, of course, after reciting Ayatul Kursi and everything.
Yeah.
But
After my Fajr prayers.
Yeah, of course. No, but of course, I mean, whatever mood you're going through, whatever is happening to you, there's a certain playlist. I mean, every one of them has made a certain playlist for their own mood, and it lifts you out of any misery that you're going through, anything bad that you're going through. So today, we, along with ourselves, are going to lift your mood.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, today the person who's actually joined us today is relatively new to music industry. His 4 singles are out. He's doing a fabulous job. He's very good looking, and I think that he will definitely be a superstar. He's a star already. He'll be a superstar.
Inshallah.
He's a superstar in the making. He's a legend in the making. A wonderful human being. He's none other than Mr. Harisullah. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, Shazad bhai and Shazad. Good morning to both of you.
Thank you.
You guys are doing your best here, and glad to be with you guys.
Thank you very much
that's
for
so
joining
sweet.
us. It's wonderful to have you, and you're a cute guy. Thank you very much. You know, this is something which I heard ever since I was growing up. And then I was like, well, what's cute?
What's
Yeah,
cute,
you know,
guy?
people should actually call me handsome, but they never did. Oh, it's all right. Yeah, but alongside Mr. Haris, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by Zuhaib as well, who's a guitarist. He's a session player. Hello, Zuhaib. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely perfect.
It's a pleasure to have with you guys today.
Thank you very
and
much.
it's an honor for me to play with very good human being, Haris. And we are being together since
So you both are cute,
yeah.
huh?
since from metric class we are
Wow, that's
doing
great.
music. Yeah.
So were you guys playing as well since Matric? I mean, you were playing your guitar and you were singing and everything before you appeared on the show?
So recently, you know, just to get my conversation started, recently you featured in a show named Satrangia, which was aired on TV Home, and you sung a beautiful song in it as well. How did it come along for you?
Yeah, the direction and the appreciation was superb, and I was so happy that Khurram Latifi gave me the chance in the show, because there are many other stars like Humaira Channa, Jabir Bas. They all are
Jabir Bas is one of my
giving their
favorites,
they are giving their part in the Satrangia, and I'm also in like I'm a spotlight there, a new ticket. Like a new ticket. So it's been glad to be with them and working with Khurram Latifi. It's an honor.
It's great that, you know, you're so humble and you are so modest. But ladies and gentlemen, as a matter of fact, for all of these amazing singers, they've done a great job too as well. But yeah, there's one thing which is very unique about Haris' song, and that is that the Haris song or Haris's music actually is viewed and heard majority of the times, which is far more than the song of Jabir Abbas Saab and Humaira Channa Sahiba and, you know, everybody else. Which means that people do not really want to actually listen to music from very known musicians or singers. What they want is that, okay, if it sounds well, it sounds well.
New and
Which is why we are actually going to put you to test whether you sound well or you don't.
Should
Let's
I go
do that.
with the same song, Satya?
Oh, no, whatever you want to share with us. So go ahead.
Sure. आजा तू भी तो आ साथिया, मेरा दिल और मेरी निगाहें हर पल देखते तेरी राहें, आजा तू भी तो आ साथिया, मेरा दिल और मेरी निगाहें हर पल देखते तेरी राहें, आजा तू भी तो आ साथिया, आने से तेरे एक रोशनी है, आँखों को जैसे जन्नत मिली है, आने से तेरे एक रोशनी है, आँखों को जैसे जन्नत मिली है, ऐसे एहसास को क्यों ना चाहें, हर पल देखते तेरी राहें, आजा तू भी तो आ साथिया, मेरा दिल और मेरी निगाहें हर पल देखते तेरी राहें, आजा तू भी तो आ साथिया, ओ हो
Amazing vocals. I was just telling him, of course we shouldn't compare artists, but this reminded me of Sonu Nigam, which was amazing, and you were so good at your guitar, mashallah.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, after years I've actually heard this kind of vocal tone as well, which reminds me of, you know, being very emotionally involved. You know, that's the kind of vocal tone, and I think that you've got a long way to go, Alhamdulillah, Haris, and you're doing a wonderful job. And the best part, you know, so ever since I actually started to sing, you know, while I was singing and while I was doing all of those alaps, you know, my facial expressions are very disturbing.
Oh, he
But
was
you certainly have worked very hard on that, that, you know, while you're
I
singing.
control my facial
Yeah,
expressions
you
while singing.
smile and, you know, your eyes are wide open. That's great. But where do you see yourself in next 5 years, and who are the musicians who inspire you a lot?
Rahat Ali Khan, Nusrat Ali Khan, but it's hard to get there. Like those vocals are so hard to match their vocals. But I guess Atif Aslam, they all are my inspirations, and it's been an honor to sing their song and making my audience happy with by singing their songs. It's an honor to be a Pakistani, especially.
Exactly.
Because they all I'm taking the names of the singers who are Pakistani, so they are well known, and people know, each and every person know Atif Aslam, Rahat Ali Khan, Nusrat Sahab. It's an honor for even taking their name is an honor.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And you know, there's a walk of fame in Dubai. That
Yeah, I
recently
was about to mention about
oh
that.
my God,
Atif Aslam
Jinx.
got mentioned,
yes,
right?
Atif Aslam has his own star over there on the walk of fame in Dubai, which is such a moment of pride for all of us.
Exactly, it is. But since we're
In
very
next
short
5
of
years,
time,
I was also thinking that I have also a star in Dubai.
wow,
Inshallah.
that's great. You will have a star in Dubai. Don't worry, I'm going next month. Yeah? Your star will be there. But then at the same time, you know, we definitely want you to do your best. We want you to share your music with the world too as well. And since we're out of time, so we're going to do the wrap up, and then you will take it away for, you know, whatever song
Should
you
it
want
be
to
the last one, or should make
the
a
last
mashup?
one.
The
Yeah,
last
well,
one.
whatever. You know, you want to go with the mashup, you think that that's best.
Yeah, you have to close the show with
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
decide, and meanwhile, we'll give out the links.
Got it.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page,
Which is with the name of Well This Morning.
on Twitter,
Well This Morning without a G.
on Dailymotion and YouTube.
Also Well This Morning,
And the repeat's going to be at
5:11 p.m. tonight.
till the next time. Look after yourselves, and ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you log on to YouTube, check Haris Alak's music as well, because his vocal tone and his music is very different
It's
and unique,
amazing.
and we're loving it. Let's do that.
I love you so much.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
तन्हाई संग दिल तन्हाई संग लाई याद तेरी संग लाई बार बार हो बहार फिर से याद आई सोनी सोनी रात की जिसने थी सजाई तन्हार रोया रे दिल रोया रे रोया रे दिल रोया रे चांद सूरज भी वही है वही आसमां जिंदगी भी चल रही है चल रहा है जहां मैं भी ठहरा हूँ खुद में सुनता हूँ दिल है गम से भरा बिन तेरे कैसे जीऊँ मैं कुछ तो दे मशवरा जिंदगानी ऐसी रह गुजर पे मुझको लाई साए से भी अब तेरे